I love this movie so much, and I was just in its spell the whole way through.
What happens when your older self appears to you during a mushroom trip? Enlightenment? Question mark? It's My Old Ass. The Sundance hit is now opening in theaters.
Yes, as usual, we are talking about My Old Ass, but
Again.
now it's an actual movie. This is a very high concept kind of throwback comedy premise here, coming of age comedy premise. And so we have lots of thoughts on it. You got to subscribe because this is definitely the kind of thing we talk about around here. If there's an Aubrey Plaza movie, we're going to review it here at Breakfast All Day.
Coming soon, Megalopolis.
What can't she do?
Indeed.
Really?
Can we kiss?
No.
What? Can I at least touch my old ass?
Oh my God, you need to be locked up.
Maisie Stella stars as Elliot, and on her 18th birthday, the summer before she leaves for college, she goes with her two best friends to this island and this lake in Canada. It all takes place in Canada. It's a very Canadian film. And she has this mushroom trip. She drinks this tea and comes face to face with herself at age 39, played by Aubrey Plaza, and asks all the questions that you would ask if you could meet yourself 20 years in the future. Part of the joke is that Aubrey Plaza does not look anything at all like Maisie Stella, and I kind of love that about it. But they have a similarly kind of sardonic wit and like a smart-ass, wry approach to life. And so that cohesive thread is evident very, very early. And so it's how she talks to her future self and, you know, asks a lot of questions. But the one thing that older Elliot will say is, do not get involved with anyone named Chad. You meet a Chad, you run the other direction. Just promise me you won't do that. And she's like, that's cryptic. What do you mean? Sure enough, the sweet and cute summer worker on her family's cranberry farm is a guy named Chad. Elliot has always thought she was a lesbian prior to this, and maybe meeting him stirs some fluidity and some confusion in her. I love this movie so much, and I was just in its spell the whole way through because it does that, you know, that simple kind of 80s throwback premise of like Freaky Friday or 13
Big.
going on 30. Big, right? Like it's not quite a body swap movie and it's not quite a time travel movie, but it has the elements of like the humor and the life lessons and the hilarity and the heartbreak and the tone here that Megan Park finds with only her second feature is so impressive because it goes to more sentimental places without being cloying. Maisie Stella is a freaking star. We are going to look back on this role and see that all the seeds were there. When she's got this whole long career ahead of her, we're going to look back and go, it was all there. I don't watch Nashville. I guess she's on Nashville.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
She's charming as hell, incredible presence and comic timing, so likable, but then can dig deep for the emotional stuff when called upon. She and Aubrey Plaza have this great chemistry with each other. Aubrey Plaza's physically only in this movie for like 2 scenes, but you know, there's a connection on the cell phone and like, how does that work? They don't explain to us the mechanics of this.
It's like the time traveling mailbox in the lake house. You just have to kind of go with it as part of the premise.
Don't ask questions, but it works so well. This movie is cast beautifully from top to bottom. I just loved it.
This movie, and I'm saying this as a compliment, is very little. You know, for as high concept as the premise is, it really functions on a young girl who's about to go to college and about like her friends and her family and this guy that she meets is working at her parents' cranberry farm. And it doesn't have to go out into the world in a big way because it's so much about all the things that are sort of swirling around her at this moment. She's itching to get out of town. She has 2 weird brothers, but maybe she needs to like build more of a bond with them before she leaves. She, you know, is told by her future self that, hey, be nicer to your mom, which generally speaking, I think is good advice. If you ever get to tell your younger self that. You know, and so the movie gets to just sort of like be very kind of geographically concentrated, but it's so rich within that, and so emotionally rich within that it's absolutely the right choice. So yeah, it is small scale in the way that like a novella is, but it really, you know, it gives you that kind of short story quality of like, these emotional moments that land, these insights on characters in a very specific time and place. Percy Hines White, who plays Chad, is like, yeah, he's adorable, but there's also something about him that you think might be sketchy, which is perfect for the role because the whole movie you're like, what is the deal with Chad and why is Aubrey Plaza telling her to stay away from him, you know? And so he provides that enigma to it as you're trying to piece it together over the course of the film. Yeah, Megan Park, I know her as an actress in Hallmark Christmas movies. This
funny.
movie is super Canadian, and so is she. But yeah, this is now her second feature film. We've liked both of them. We reviewed, what's the other one called?
The Fallout.
The Fallout.
Which was very different. It was about teenagers like navigating the aftermath of a school shooting.
Yes, yeah.
Very different.
Much more grim. Maddie Ziegler starred in that one. She plays one of the friends in this one. Yeah, I think she's a really exciting young filmmaker, and I totally agree with you. Maisie Stella is going places.
Yeah. I liked Karis Brooks too as one of the other best friends. She's got like a quirky kind of personality. Like I believed that friendship, like in a very efficient way.
Yes.
They established that these kids have been together for a long time and have a great bond. There's a great visual sense of place here too, as far as creating this kind of like wistful, melancholy final summer on the verge of adulthood on the lake, like the shimmering afternoon sun on the water.
Golden Pond.
It is, but like never in a cloying way.
No.
That's what's so amazing is that like emotional things happen here and like that summer that changed everything vibe is all over this, but it never feels heavy handed or maudlin. Like the tone is just right the whole way through. And I was impressed by that.
It's that sense of immediacy of like where you're, it's something where maybe even occasionally and only occasionally it'll be like, one day I'm going to be nostalgic for this moment, for this thing that I'm happening right now. But yeah, the way that she shoots the natural settings, you know, again, they go places by boat, you know, they have a cranberry farm. It is all the landscape ties very much into the whole story here. And yeah, it's all beautifully portrayed. And Maria Ditzia, who's an actress I've always really liked in supporting roles, nails the mom character. Handful of scenes, but like just gets it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because like she's a stealth MVP all the time. And it seems to be doing very little here, but it is so grounded and so real and brings a lot of meaning to those scenes. Like Elliot's kind of a pain in the ass, but like charmingly so. Like she's rambunctious and she's got
in an 18-year-old way,
right? Intense feelings about everything in the world, but like that all feels true because you know you're on your way to University of Toronto and you're gonna change the world. And I love this movie. I'm going to say like a 9.2. Like this could be on my top 10 list at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm an 8.5 for sure. And again, I think that like, I think it's going to be easy for people to underestimate this film because again, it does operate on such a small scale, but I think that's part of the point is that this is what the world is when you're 18 and about to leave town and, you know, all these things lie ahead of you, but they're not there yet, you know? So yeah, I you know, kudos all around. I think this is beautifully acted. Megan Park wrote this as well. And, you know, another triumph for her.